Good morning. This video is to every politician in this country. It is an unfortunate product of our society. You are liars, thieves and traitors, some knowingly, some unknowingly. There is an issue in this state at this moment where we have an arrogant, ignorant, nasty little socialist for a premier who claims he is the government, tries to put forward that he has a dictatorial authority in this state. No, Mark McGowan, you do not. You are lying to us, you are lying to yourself, and you're trying to make out you're the best premier in the world. No. All you are is the best liar put in front of a TV or on Facebook. You'll dribble about the wonderful things that you've done for this state. You haven't. All you've done is set up a method whereby you can rip us off a little bit more than the previous mob. But I'm going to stay at state level. First, I'll refer to all politicians and their validity. You are there to represent us, not your political parties. The second you put forward political party policy and not the will of the people, you commit treason. You breach the oath you owe to us. Do you have sovereignty? No, you don't. Do you have supremacy? No, you don't. Can you claim it? No. Can you get it? No. You're trying to. I was asked the other day, can you be a member of a political party and go into Parliament and sit in Parliament lawfully? No, you can't. You have a duty to the people of this country to follow their will. You cannot follow the will of a political party and state you are following the will of the people. I did attempt to do that until the political party was registered. It's my belief that puts it outside of the laws of this country. Therefore, I removed myself from them. They stick to their beliefs, I stick to mine, and I'm going to follow my beliefs. Now, Hansard, 1890 to 1900, clearly states any supremacy, sovereignty, and the right to change the state constitution was removed from the parliaments of the states and vested entirely in the people. The people became sovereign and supreme with the proclamation of the Constitution. That took place on the 9th of July 1900. Nothing changed, that's how it is, that's our law. Now, a few weeks ago, well, more like about 3 months ago, I spoke to a local prosecutor who I've known for a lot of years. He told me the government passed a law in 1907 giving it the right to override our Constitution, to pass laws supreme to our Constitution. That, of course, is an outright lie. Is he a liar? I don't know if he has checked it out, but if he hasn't, since after our conversation, he is both stupid and lying from that time on. A couple of weeks ago, about 3 weeks ago, a friend of mine went to court in the Midland Court, and the prosecutor told him the government has a right to pass laws to override the Constitution. You, sir, are a liar. You are an absolute moron to believe that a parliament elected by a constitution can pass a law to override that constitution. Where do you get your intellect from? Why the hell are you prosecuting? What kind of an idiot would even consider that, let alone believe it? What sort of an idiot magistrate would operate under that system? You know, you can't say you don't know that you are subject to the Constitution and bound by its contents and bound by decisions of the High Court. You can't say you don't know that, because you do. If you never studied that at law school, get out of your job. Your degree in law is crap. Garbage. About as authoritative as this mucus constitution. Has none. Garbage. We didn't approve it. Not approved by us. Doesn't exist in law. You can sit there, you can lie. Oh, Billy Hughes signed the Treaty of Versailles. So what? Well, was a referendum under 128. Wasn't one? Went out the door. But even if it didn't, King George V in February 1920 reinstated all the letters patents of Queen Victoria. Not that they were ever removed. They were not. They couldn't be. And he made sure that they were cemented in place. Queen Elizabeth in 2008 said the same. She upholds all of her great-grandmother's letters patents. Pretty authoritative statement from the only person who can make them, the reigning monarch. Don't like it? You think she's unlawful? You're an idiot. She is sitting there as a monarch, regardless of what you think, what you reckon she is. She's a lizard, she's this, she's that. I don't know. I don't care. At this time, she's a reigning monarch, has a say according to law. Stick to it. HCA 44 of 2010, all the common laws of England are law in this country and must be complied with. Read that decision, understand it, understand our Constitution. Now let's get one thing straight, Mark McGowan. Stop lying to us. You have no authority over borders. The borders are imaginary lines on a piece of paper. Yes, they come out drawn on maps, but they're imaginary lines. They are not hard borders. That is a lie. I told you on your Facebook page. You have lied ever since. The Boundaries Act was removed from the colonies when they became states. Understand that? A border is a boundary. You have no rights. The only lawful boundary or border is the 12 nautical mile boundary set by the Constitution. I know the political parties say 200. I don't care. It's 12 nautical miles. The Constitution says so. Don't like that tough. Now, Mark McGowan, you are not the government. You are not head of the government. You have nothing to do with government in this state. You are lying again. And you know you are lying. I served on you not long after you first became the Premier, the foreman of the State Parliament, 2 notices of seizure under the lawful provisions of the lawful act in this country called Magna Carta. Why? Because I have the right to as a sworn officer of the Crown, which you are not. You have not sworn a lawful oath, so you aren't one. So you are lying to the people saying you're there for the people. You are not. You are there to create a socialist dictatorship, which you're trying to backdoor through now using a disease some believe is fraud, some believe is truth. I'm not saying either way because that prohibits me being on Facebook, so I'm not going to say it. The evidence will come out, the evidence will prove either way the truth. But you are not the government. Read the Constitution, both state and federal. The highest authority in government, the government system in this state, is the Governor. You, since 1960, have issued all appointments or commissions for the governors. The political parties have. And for the Governor-Generals. You know what that does? That negates a lot. Simple. Those commissions must be issued by the Queen. I questioned it when the Governor-General got his. Why was it issued by the Parliament? Why wasn't it issued by the Queen? He went before her, purportedly, a few weeks before he was elected. Why didn't she issue the commission? Why didn't she? Why wasn't it put to her? why did the so-called government do it? What was that government doing there? What was it doing there? It had no right to be there until they were lawfully sworn in by the Chief Justice. Why did she swear them in after ScoMo had already decided he was still the government? He wasn't the government. Until they were all lawfully sworn in, taking the oath contained in our Constitution, they don't exist, and they haven't done it. There is no Queen of Australia. Oh, sorry. Yeah, there was. That was Gough Whitlam. He signed as the Queen. Gough Whitlam did. The Queen of Australia. Political party queen. Lying, fraud and traitor. And Gough Whitlam was. So was Bob Hawke. So was every so-called Prime Minister since then. You fools, traitors, are not the government. You are the parliaments. You're not sovereign. Our Constitution says so. You're not supreme. Our Constitution says so. Hansard from the people who wrote the Constitution says so. So you're not. Doesn't matter what you take out of decisions of any court in this country to try and gain sovereignty or supremacy, you don't have it. We are. It's with the people. We are the Commonwealth. All references to the Commonwealth are references to the people on the land mass known as Australia. We are the Commonwealth. And for your information, you little liar, McGowan, we are the states. You are not. We are. I'm well aware that you created the state as an entity using the Acts Amendment, Repeals, Court and Legal Practice Act. Why didn't you put that to us by referendum? Because the Labor Party, like all the other political parties, is all manned by a pack of liars and thieves and traitors. That's all you are. All of you. You're not going to tell the truth. You're going to say what you think will benefit your political party. Well, we want the truth. That is the reason I seized the 3 lawful tiers of the state parliament. And I gave all the reasons, and you still haven't complied. You are still lying. You are still disobeying the Constitution. That's treason. You are still telling people now that you can separate Western Australia from the rest of Australia. No, you can't. You can't even propose it, Mark McGowan. That is an act of treason. You called the little man from Queensland enemy of this state. You are the enemy of this state. You and John Quigley. And your political parties, the whole lot, are enemies of this state and every other state. At a federal level, the enemies of this country. Why? Because you are not serving us. You are paid by us to serve us, but you're not. There are 2 states in Western Australia. The lawful one, which I seized, hold for and on behalf of the people under the Crown. So we are operating under the Crown, we the people. They don't know your lies, your twisted and bent so-called legislation put there by Whitlam, saying we're all brain dead, don't live, gender-neutral persons, whatever you want to call us. None of that exists. That's a figment of your bent and twisted imagination. We are living, breathing human beings. We are the state of Western Australia, and that applies to every other state. We, the people. You are there to serve us. We, the people of every state, are sovereign and supreme. We are the highest power in this country in authority. We. To operate in this country, you operate under the authority granted by us through our Constitution, not through your brain-dead clowns you call caucus or anything else you like to call yourself. There is no such thing as a cabinet in the Constitution. There is the executive, which is the governor. He selects 10 from the lower house, 8 from the upper. All we have at present is MLCs and MLAs. Malicious, lying airheads. that's yous. Or malicious, lying cretins. That's what you got in our parliament. When are we going to get MLAs? When are we going to get them? Or MLCs? Because we don't have them. That's what we, the people, require for this state. Stop lying about all the wonderful things you've done. You've done nothing, Mark McGowan, except lie. The destruction of the foreshore of Geraldton is attributed to companies, I believe, is owned by the Labor Party or run by the Labor Party. Against all the advice given, you built the port the way you did. Now you've destroyed the coastline of Geraldton all the way up to Drummond's Cove. There is no road in Drummond's Cove. It's eaten away just north of the Hall. There's nothing there. Right down the coast there was over almost 150 metres of beach all the way around to Geraldton. It's all gone. Why? Because of the stupidity of you. And you're saying, look at the wonderful job we've done. No. You gave the city of Geraldton a big mound of money to do up the foreshore and make it look pretty. They didn't do it out of the rates. They put all that in their pockets. As usual, thieves, liars, frauds, traitors. And it's not going to help Van Stein when he gets charged with treason. George Judice's not going to be able to get you off, nor are any of the magistrates. You might have got away with assault. I don't know. I haven't looked at the evidence. But I do believe it should be appealed against, because the Act of Habeas Corpus says no single judge can sit in judgment of anybody. The judgment was a fraud under that Act. Is that Act still valid? Yes. Should it still be in place? Oh yes, it is. HCA 44 of 2010, the full bench of the High Court said it was. High Court's decision, binding on the courts, judges and people of every state. You had a Star Chamber hearing, Van Stein. Whether you are guilty or not is irrelevant. The fact is the court sat unlawfully. The judge sat totally unlawfully. You understand that? George Judice, you know that. Don't pretend you don't, because I know you and I know you do know it. Show some honour and appeal against the decision granted to your client because it's wrong. Can you do that? Yes, you can. It was wrong in law. You have a duty to serve the people first. Go on. I dare you to fight for the truth for once. Go on, George. Be a good little boy. Now, McGowan, you have another underlying lie that you have concealed. War crimes against the people of this country. You've concealed where the HMAS Sydney is. You've concealed where all the bodies were buried. You know where they are. The same person who told me told you. And had meetings with the city of Geraldton. You all know. You are still concealing it all. Why? And Alana McTiernan, you were the Environment Minister in 2004 when the British whoever blew the Sydney into halves to get the gold off it. There's a dispute on how much gold was there. I was told 7 tonnes, 6 tonnes, 4 tonnes. Doesn't matter if there was 1 bar in there. Why did you interfere or allow the British to come here? Don't say you didn't. To come in here, you would have had the radar turned off so it wasn't picked up and broadcast. There's a foreign ship coming up in, so it would have been intercepted and stopped. You allowed it to come in. And you knew, Alana McTiernan, there was bunker oil around all the islands. That's why you sent 2 of your officers up there. And don't say you didn't, because the Australian Bulldust Club reported on it in 2004. It's on my Facebook page. The reference to it, and you can still reference it unless ABC has removed it in their usual form of concealing lies by you people. So the fishermen knew what happened. You were told, obviously, or your people were. Why didn't you do something about it? That is a war crime. To steal from the ship is a war crime. To blow it up is a war crime. To conceal where it is a war crime. The monument must be to the nearest point of land to the ship. Why isn't it there? Another war crime. where the bodies were buried and dug up and moved 20 kilometres further south to Fisherman's Cove. Why isn't that revealed? Because you, Mark McGowan, are covering it up. And now you think look at this, you broke all the law in relation to this COVID lockdown or coronavirus lockdown, and you think, I've done a good job. Well, perhaps you did, perhaps you didn't. But you allowed those 3 ships to come here. You've allowed ships to come here from overseas without first checking them to see if anybody on there had the COVID virus and then sending them away. Instead, you bring them into port, you take the people off with the risk of infecting others. Why, Mark McGowan? Why haven't you actually defended this state? Because you don't have any authority. And why are you paying that slob that calls itself the governor all that money to sit there and do nothing? Yes, Kim Beazley, you are sitting there being paid to do nothing. You have a duty. That duty is under letters patent. You are required to select 10 from the lower house, 8 from the upper. You are required to give them the portfolios. You are required then, as the executive and the actual governing body, the highest authority in governance, and that is a letters patent. You, Beazley, are required to put legislation together in accordance with the Constitution, not accordance to the Labor Party, who are your masters, or all the other political parties, who are your masters. You are required to serve this state. You are being paid to serve this state. McGowan and Quigley, so are you. When are you going to do it? When are you going to start telling the truth? You think you're going into the next election with a benefit because some survey taken at a university or somewhere that favours Labor has given all these figures of 80 or 90 or 100% following you? I can tell you there's 100% of people are following you, but about 80% of them had a guts full of your lies and crap and your treason, and you're about to find out you are not going to sit in our parliament. You know why? Because we, the people who are the state, have control of everything under the state created under 107, 108 and 109 of the Constitution. The state constitution was removed. It was never ever put in place properly in this state, but it's gone. You removed it. Actually, your Labor Party removed it in 1979 when you added local government. It became repugnant to the Constitution. Ours. You removed the state constitution because the High Court's ruled several times and the Constitution states the state constitutions continue subject to the Commonwealth. You made it no longer subject to our Constitution. It no longer exists. Stop lying, Mark. Stop lying. You know. You know. I gave you the reason when I seized the 3 lawful tiers. All you had to do was correct the problems. What did you do? Nothing. Because you have this stupid little idea you're going to end up the President of Western Australia. You're not. You're going to end up in a cell for the rest of your life with owning nothing. You, sir, are a traitor and you are one of the worst criminals to this state. You should be booted out. Go back to New South Wales and take your socialist dribble with you. The people reign in this country, and they definitely reign in this state, under the seizure, lawful seizure, that I did. And I lawfully seized every asset and every part of this country, lawfully, under a lawful law made in England years ago, applicable in this country under Clause 5 of the Constitution. Read it and weep, you lying little traitor. You have a very lovely few weeks of freedom before you do get locked up. You are an enemy of us the people, and an enemy of this state, the lawful state, not the one created under an Act of Parliament, which is just a joke. An Act is a pretend law. That's all it is. Can't be assented to because we got a pretend governor. Have a nice day.